Right now, I kind of want to start off where you kind of begin with your book. Before you start talking about those habits or what some people might call spiritual disciplines, like prayer and the reading of the Bible, but you take a fair amount of time defining the gospel and its implications for today. You got to get the gospel right first. You say this on page 37. You say, "We'll get to what we must do soon enough. The place to begin, though, is with the good news of what Jesus has done for us. Believe it, celebrate it. This news gives us everything we need to grow." Tell me why this is so important. Like, what do we lose if we don't start with that premise?
It's such a great question. I remember as a pastor preaching, and at one point, I still remember the Sunday, I was scratching my head. How do I motivate these people?
Mm,
And I had this thing of, I need to give them more things to do.
yeah.
But I found the more that I gave them things to do, the more it was like this accumulated weight of, I remember one time just doing the math. If I get 3 applications every week, and application is valuable, but over the course of the year, that's over 150 applications I'm giving to people of do more of this, do more of this. And I remember thinking like maybe the issue is I'm not motivating people with guilt enough, or like
Mm,
what's the issue, right? Like I'm
yeah.
giving them things to do and they're not doing it.
Mm,
And at some point, I think through a number of different authors began to realize self-help just doesn't work. If we just needed more things to do, all we would need to do is to go back to the Old Testament and find God. I love the law. The law that God gave through Moses is amazing, and the Psalms that talk about delighting in the law. But here's the thing, we are not capable. I think one of the functions of the law is to make us realize we can't do it.
mm,
We're because of our fallen nature,
mhm.
we need outside help. We need good news instead of just more good advice or good work to do. And so realizing, man, the place to begin, and it was such a relief, is to begin with, like, God has done everything necessary already to give us the passing grade through Jesus Christ. And everything we do now is not to earn God's approval, but it's out of the wealth of all that God gives us that He empowers us to live in
Mm,
obedience to Him. So just that, I remember, I'm embarrassed to even admit that I was struggling with this, but I remember that as one person said, the gospel isn't just how you begin the Christian life, but it's all of the Christian life. It
mm,
really is the basis for how we live every single day.
mm.
So yeah, that was just it changed everything for me. And
Yeah.
to wake up every day and realize I want to obey God today,
Hmm.
but I'm obeying with effort. It still
Yeah.
takes my effort, but that effort is empowered by the Holy Spirit.
Hmm.
So it's not up to me. So that I begin every day with the knowledge of the gospel is such good news because I could not do this on my own. I think in the book I mentioned I met a guy who said he biked through Europe.
Mm.
I was pretty impressed by that. And then I found out that he actually e-biked through Europe. I was like, okay, totally different thing, right? Like you were biking, but you had supplementary power there.
Yeah.
And I began thinking about that. Like that's actually a pretty good picture of the Christian life. Like we're biking, but we could not do it on our own. But the Spirit has given us the power we need to actually obey Him and do what we need to do. And that's the great news of the gospel.
That's a wonderful illustration. I remember when I read that, I was like, "Whoa, that's powerful."
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people have a hard time defining the gospel. Like, so what exactly is it? Maybe for the person who's not a Christian, or maybe someone who's kind of been in the faith and they've kind of been like, "What do you mean by gospel? Does that mean just the death of Christ, or what is that all about?"
Yeah, so the gospel is the news that I'll give you the Ray Ortlund version. I've really been taken by the Ray Ortlund version because it's very unique.
Hmm.
He says, number one, I'm a complete idiot. Not you're a complete idiot, I think, but I'm a complete idiot. And
We
it's
are,
like,
we are,
okay,
we are
we
together.
are together. That's right. Sometimes as Christians, we're like, and it's like, no, I'm a complete idiot. Number two is my future is incredibly bright.
Hmm.
And number three, anybody can get in on this.
Hmm.
Now, if you unpack that, what he's saying is, we have a problem, and the problem is, I mean, we don't even measure up to our own standards. Everybody I know is carrying around a weight of guilt and shame,
Mm.
and it's not just that there's this external standard. There is, but it's not just that it's God has a standard that we've fallen short of. I think instinctively we understand that we're not who we want to be. Like we disappoint ourselves, and we all have this sense that we don't even measure up. There's something deeply flawed with us.
Mm,
And the world tells us, oh, you just got to look within and believe in yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. And we're like, no, there is something, right? We just instinctively know that.
mm,
But the gospel is the good news that God, in his great mercy, when he could have condemned us rightfully for rebelling against him, acted through Jesus to uh, live the perfect life, to bear our sins at the cross, to wipe away all our guilt and shame, to adopt us, to love us, to give us a new identity. And that means in the middle of our mess, he's done everything needed for us to, be squared away. And our future is incredibly bright. Like the good news about that, it's not just personal good news. It is that, but it's that God is going to set this whole world right, including us. So,
mm.
I mean, we could unpack that there's so much there, but
Yeah.
just that sense of we're a mess. God acted through Jesus to fix the mess that we're in,
Hmm.
and our future is bright. So we're going through, um, yeah, like we've been through a lot of suffering in our family, and just the knowledge that one day it's not just that I get to go to heaven one day, but it's a sense that He's going to set this world right. Like
Hmm.
everything that's broken and wrong with this world.
Yeah.
Like look at the past week. As we're recording this, I don't know when it's going to come out, but when we're
Right.
recording this, we've just been through the U.S. election, and it's deeply discouraging, right?
Yeah.
Just the polarization and the anxiety that people are feeling and the hatred and the even threats of violence. Like God's going to set all of that right one day, and
Mm,
we won't have any of that division anymore. We won't have any of the interpersonal conflict, the racism, all the issues that drive us crazy right now.
mm.
He's going to completely set all of that right one day.
Amen. Amen. Yeah.